A very warm welcome. Yes, it's Saturday, 20th of March, 2021, and we are here for the EISJ race day, sponsored by Untitled Motors and supported by ADNOC and F1inSchools. My name is Schwartz, and with me in studio, I'm honored to have one of our current year 13 students, Marcel Abu Samra. Marcel, good afternoon and welcome to the studio. Nice to have you.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you.
We would also like to welcome friends, families of students, families from all across the world, and especially also our friends from Meadows joining us live on YouTube and Facebook this afternoon. A very exciting event for Emirates International School Jumeirah today, as this is the inaugural event of the Formula One in schools.
Absolutely.
Marcel, you were part of last year's team.
Yes.
The first team ever to participate in the Formula One in schools. Would you just like to take us through that as an experience, as part of being part of the history? What did that mean to you?
Absolutely. So overall, it was a very good and very nice experience. This came across, I think, if you remember, around a year back, that you came with me and said that we have this competition, and if we would like to make something of it. So we started actually with just a short after school, some meetups, some sketches on CAD softwares, and we weren't really taking that much into it. But then we ended up deciding to join the competition and formed a team of 6.
Yes.
And that's when it got serious. We started working a lot, doing a lot of research, because obviously we were the first to sort of do this in our school, so we didn't have any guidance or anyone to talk to. So we began with a lot of research, and we established this whole system and really worked as a team. And I think that's the main and key component, is to work as a team. So we started off with designing our team identity. So that goes with everything, with the logo, and that goes with your design of your general design and your color scheme and everything like that, which we can see all the teams today, hopefully, with a nice design.
Absolutely.
And also brilliant cars, because that is the core of the competition. That's what we went into later on, designing the cars, doing lots of research and lots of testing, and at the end it paid off. They were difficult times. The pandemic has hit us at that time, and we came across a lot of challenges, but through the teamwork we were able to overcome those challenges. And it was overall an amazing experience, and I'm really happy to be here today right now and to carry this forward to the first race in our school. Yeah.
We're absolutely happy to have you. And Marcel, what makes this even more special is the fact that we only had one team last year, but this year we have grown to 7 teams competing for the top 4 places today, as they are aiming to represent our school at the ADNOC national event later in May this year. So just for the viewers at home, I'm just going to give you a run-through of what the show is going to look like. We will have 2 rounds of racing. Each round will have 21 races. After round 1, we will swap the lanes around, and then we will have another 21 fun and exciting races ahead. So 42 races today. So a lot of fun, excitement, and not too much drama, hopefully, Marcel.
Hopefully.
That awaits our 7 teams as they are competing for this wonderful opportunity to represent our school at the UAE ADNOC National Day.
Yes.
As we've mentioned before, this is a very first for Emirates International School Jumeirah, a very big event. It's a historical moment, and all of this is only possible due to the absolute open hand of Untitled Motors and the person in charge there, Mr. Ahmed Al-Abtour, CEO of Untitled Motors.
Drive your ambition. Mitsubishi Motors.
Yes, a massive thank you to Mr. Ahmed from Alaptour Motors for making this day possible for us, and also a very big thank you to ADNOC and EISJ, who is supporting this event in making this incredible opportunity for our students possible today. Marcel, I want to talk to you a little bit more about your experience during last year's event. As you've mentioned before, yes, it was a very tough time for you guys where you didn't actually have this opportunity to actually race your car before the actual national event. And you know, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But I think one crucial part that the STEM competition also develops is leadership. Abilities and skills. And you being the team leader from last year, can you just take us through, as a leader of a team, what did the STEM F1inSchools mean for you? How did that help you as with your role now currently as a prefect of our Year 13 team?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned that before, it's a lot of fun, but it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
So it was a long process, and as the team leader, you have to coordinate and manage everything within the team. And you have to look at every single aspect that you're working on, whether it's the design of the car, whether it's the function, whether it's the testing, whether it's to do with the design of the logo, with marketing, with sponsorship, it's everything. So a lot of work goes into it, and the whole team is relying on you.
Yes.
You need to be responsible, and also it's where real money comes in, and you have to manage finances, and you have sponsors, and you have responsibilities, and it's definitely a big job, and it's definitely a learning into the future, and it's something that at a young age, students get to experience and learn to develop the leadership skills, and develop their engineering skills, develop their CAD design skill, software skills. And it's overall an experience of what the real world looks like. And it's not just a competition, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of learning experience. And definitely this has helped me to pave my way into the school leadership team, and also into taking a role as a leader naturally. And this has definitely helped me shape who I am today.
Marcel, that is absolutely so true. And what I want to ask you next is, our teams this year very keen and eager to participate, but as they, you know what the F1, how challenging it can be, and how the unpredictable can happen.
Yes.
And how some of them actually, at some point, actually thought about giving up at some point. What were the two key things to the current participants that are competing for the top 4, and to those watching from home that would like to join into F1? What are the two key things that stood out for you from last year's competition that you are taking forward to you? Taking forward in future.
So when it comes to if I was to do this again, and there were two things that I would focus on absolutely, because these are the two things sort of to succeed and win the competition. And these are major giveaways right now. And if these are the two most important things, and number one being the weight of your car. Try to get it as low as possible and as close to the minimum allowed within your category.
Yes.
So for our category, it was 50 grams, and our car was actually 53 grams. So we were pretty close, and we were really confident, but we still didn't end up winning.
Yes.
So I think the first team was very close to 50 grams, and I think the weight is a very big factor in determining the winner.
Yes.
And the second thing is your reaction time. You really have to practice it, and you really have to get it down below the average.
Yes.
So right now the average is around 0.25, I think.
Yeah.
So you really need to go under. And you, as a team, I recommend for today's competition and today's afternoon, choose one person within your team to handle it with the best reaction time, and they have to stay there and do it for all the races. Do not switch between people. That just creates a mess. Let one person handle it. Try to get as low as possible with the reaction time, because that's what's going to give you an advantage. That's what's going to push you over the edge, hopefully on top of the leaderboard.
Some very wise words there from the man himself who led the very first team for Emirates International School Jumeirah during last year's national event. Marcel, just a very last question from me.
Yes.
Key thing here is not just about winning. It is about fun and enjoyment. But I think what is valuable to this program is also the personal development, the skills that you as a person develop. If you can just briefly, if there are 2 skills that you can think of that you've developed through the STEM F1inSchools, what would those skills be?
Absolutely. So as the team leader, my leadership skills obviously developed a lot.
Right.
But also, I was into software and I was into design. But one thing that I wasn't particularly good at and wasn't into is marketing and talking to sponsors, engaging with that. So this opportunity has really allowed me to develop my marketing skills and approaching sponsors and offering them sort of, it's like a negotiation.
Yes.
Because you're trying to convince them to spend money on you and to invest in you, and you need to convince them what return on investment they will have. So I think this is something that you step in the real world, and this is something that goes outside of school, outside of the learning system. This is the real world, and I think that's a really valuable skill that I learned. And of course, developing my leadership skills even further.
Yes. Thank you, Marcel. That's very helpful, and I'm sure that the teams listening to you at the moment and those aspiring to be part of the program are listening very closely. So I would like to say to all 7 teams participating today, I know you've worked extremely hard and that you're ready for today's event, is to enjoy the experience, to develop those skills, to pull your teams together, and to listen to the advice of the very wise man here on to the left of me. So just before we get into the action, I think, Marcel, what we're going to do is we're going to show them just a very brief overview of the amazing performance of you and your team during last year's national virtual event.
The Jaguars from the Emirates International School, you join us, we say a big hello to you. I love the branding, guys.
Well, welcome you all. We're all feeling really good, really excited.
And wow, that went by fast.
Rapido.
Really, not just the race, it's really everything that we did, from the design, the portfolio, the video and everything. It's really all together, not only the car, but everything, and the whole teamwork and everything that's going really well. That's what we're proud of the most.
Yeah, I must be honest with you, I've watched that video several times, and it's an amazing achievement, part of history, and you're part of history again today.
Absolutely.
But let's focus on the order of business for today. We're here as 7 teams compete for those top 4 positions to represent Emirates International School Jumeirah at this year's national event. So now let's meet the 7 teams. First on, we've got Team Veloce. The team is led by Hayley Najjar, Team Manager, Akib Zahir, Design Engineer, Aditya Agarwal, Manufacturing Engineer, Yaman Ayan, Resource Manager, Maya Abu Samra, some family there, Marcel.
Yes, sir.
Yes, following her big brother's footsteps, Graphics Designer, and Zaina Negam, Marketing Executive. The second team this afternoon is Emirates Odyssey, led by Hamza Ahmed, Team Manager and Design Manager, Taksh Girdar, Design Engineer, Shamir Ahmed, Manufacturing Engineer, Aruj Khan, Resource Manager, Aiden Tony, Graphics Designer, and hey, very important here is we've got another female, Nicola Pangilagan, the Marketing Executive. So nice to see the girls also being part of this competition, Marcel.
Absolutely. It's a huge misconception that F1 is just a sport for boys. It's absolutely for girls and boys. Last year we had 3 boys in our team and 3 girls in our team, and it's absolutely all about a team effort and important to incorporate everyone.
Absolutely. Next up, 21 drivers. And I spoke to these gentlemen, or this team, and they said their inspiration came from 21 pilots Very nice
Interesting one.
group there. And so
Absolutely.
21 drivers, this is where this name comes from. This team is led by by Shrey Kare, who's the team manager and the resource manager. Isa Medi, design engineer. Yutaro Kaneko, designer, graphics designer. Darsh Teju Singhani, manufacturing engineer. Liam Nudger, marketing executive. And Romer Bakshi, the resource manager.
I think this is the youngest team that we have, and it's
Yes.
interesting to see.
Yes, they've got some year 9s in that team, and I hope that they are going to really speed things up this afternoon.
Absolutely.
Next up, we've got Team Titan Motorsports, led by Year 11 Munib Sabah as team manager, Araf Mehta design engineer, Muhammad Saad manufacturing engineer, Muhammad Al-Mansouri resource manager, Rashid Al-Muhairi graphics designer, Luhay Omar Galul as the marketing executive. Very nice to see some Emirati students in this team as well, Marcel. Next up, we've got Team Alpha. Again, an all-male team led by Year 11 Dave Porter, Muhammad Mafaz as design engineer, Saranj Kulo as resource manager, Aran Takar as graphics designer, Advait Bijou as manufacturing engineer, and Sidant Pabreja as the marketing executive. Then we've got Volta Racing. This team is being led by Zain Munim, team manager and design engineer. Imad Adnan is the resource manager. Ibrahim Abbas is marketing executive. Hussam Al-Turk, manufacturing engineer and marketing executive. And then Khalid Al-Yundi as the graphics designer. Last team that's going to be racing this afternoon is, last but not least, I have to
Absolutely.
say, is Turbo Motors. They are being led by Anirudh Viswanathan and as the team manager and the resource manager. Quite a big responsibility, Marcel, 2 roles there. I'll talk to you about that a bit later on. Alexander Weidlich as the design engineer, Mohammed Zaiden as the manufacturing engineer, Ghanem Al-Mari as the graphics designer, and then again, very nice to see a girl there as Mawada Alani as the marketing executive.
Yes.
Marcel, let's just quickly talk about the races this afternoon.
Yes.
2 rounds, 21 races in each round. So we've got a whole day filled with 42 races.
Yes.
What should team managers be thinking about now, only having 1 car per race? What are they thinking, and what should they be prepared for?
Right. I think it's a bit of a risk having 1 car, but it's all part of the sport. And
Yes.
things happen and things come unexpectedly. So having 1 car and many races, you do need to be careful, but it is out of your control, so don't stress too much. I think it's, let's have fun and let everyone enjoy the experience.
Yes.
So absolutely, they should be choosing wisely who will be taking the responsibility of launching the car,
Yes.
someone with a great reaction time. And as I said, make sure that you don't change that person, keep that 1 person, let them handle it, let them do it. We've got about 6 races for each team. I think definitely they'll be able to score a consistent time and 1 great time to push them above the leaderboard. And I think that's the main takeaway. And yeah, let's just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's enough talk from our side. We are absolutely excited over here. I hope everybody at home is totally geared, buckled up for some amazing racing coming your way. We are ready for round 1. And let's go down to the track at Emirates International School, Jumeirah, for the first race. It is Team Veloce against Emirates Odyssey. Marcel, you've had a look. What are your thoughts just very quickly about this one?
Absolutely. First race of the day.
Yes.
Very exciting to see what's going to happen. Looking at the cars and looking at the statistics, Emirates Odyssey are have a big advantage when it comes to the weight of their car.
Yes.
But we never know how the reaction times are
Absolutely.
going to be, so let's see. It's an exciting
Absolutely.
one.
We are ready And we're ready to go down to the track for race number 1 of round 1, Veloce against Emirates Odyssey. Cars are locked and loaded, and we are ready for the countdown.
Beautiful design.
Yeah,
And
2 amazing cars.
absolutely.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
fast.
that was very fast, Marcel.
Absolutely.
Take a look at that reaction time, 0.167 from Veloce and 0.187 from
187.
Emirates Odyssey.
Yes.
Amazing reaction
Amazing,
times.
that's-
As you said, these
yes.
teams obviously have listened. If you take a look there, the total race time, 1.376 from Emirates Odyssey and 1.409 from Team Veloce. Not
Yes.
bad times at the start.
Not bad at all, and we can see that their reaction times are below average, so that's
Yep.
going to be an advantage for them. But there's more races to come, and let's see how that will go. If we look at the slow-mo over here, clearly Emirates Odyssey and Lane
Yes.
2 have taken the win over there.
Yes.
So, but Veloce had a better reaction time. I think that's
Yes.
coming down to the car with Emirates Odyssey to get them that advantage over there. With a track of 1.189, that's quite impressive
Yes.
for the first performance.
Yes. So, yeah, some high standards there at the start. Marcel,
Yeah,
will
so
you take us to the next one?
absolutely, we're carrying on to race 2 of the day, and we have in lane 1, 21 drivers against Titan Motorsports in lane 2. In it to win it. I love the slogan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's clear business as that they are in it to win it. We're going down to the track. Take a look at those beautiful colors, the black and the green, and 2 very speedy cars.
Absolutely.
Cars are locked and loaded. We're ready.
All right, so we can see now that the cars
Yes.
are, I think in lane 1, the 21 drivers, quite a big car,
Yes.
quite a long car. We'll see
Yeah.
if that will help them perform
Yes.
better aerodynamically. And then we've got a very slick car if you look at Titan Motorsport.
Yes.
Um,
Marcel, in terms of length,
Yes.
I know you said that the mass, that it's all about the mass, is one of the key factors that determines how fast the car actually travels. Does length not really affect it that much in terms of, you think about your car design last year? What would you say? How does length actually play a role?
So I think what you need to do is you need to stick to the regulations,
Yeah.
and there's actually critical penalty points if you exceed
Yes.
that regulation. Unfortunately, that's what had happened this afternoon with Titan Motorsport,
Yes.
where they got 6 penalty points
Yes.
for exceeding the length in the regulations.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a critical point means they will not be able to score for the fastest car award.
Right.
But it's all part of the sport, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I think the main takeaway is to stay within the regulations.
Yes.
And the length of the car, obviously if you maximize the length, you will be weighing more, so try to minimize the length just to minimize the weight, and as I said, as close as you can to those 50 grams.
Nice, Marcel. Thank you very much for that.
We just had like a technical issue at the track.
There's
but
a little bit of a technical issue
Yeah.
down with the track. I think
Absolutely.
these cars are going so fast that they're causing some issues with the track.
Yes.
Marcel, if you take a look, let's go back to last year.
Yes.
If there is anything that you would do differently, what would the key things be that you would do? The teams now that today would have the opportunity to race their cars. They will see how they perform in terms of time. What would be the key thing? First of all, let's start with what you would do differently, and then also a little bit of advice for these teams as they progress from this year's event to the national.
Absolutely. So as a team, we've put in absolutely our everything into it, and we designed a great portfolio,
Yes.
and we did a great presentation, and we made a nice video, and we did lots of marketing, and we've put lots of research and lots of testing into our car. And we were very confident with our car, and one advantage that we had was that we did more than one testing. We got
Right.
multiple prototypes, and that's actually one thing I would recommend to the going into the nationals because, as you know, there is the winner of all the competitions, and
Yes.
just because you won here doesn't mean that you're the best.
That's
You
true.
need to look at ways to improve. So, going back to my experience with my team, one thing that I would try to minimize more is the weight of our car.
Yeah.
We were at 53 grams and we just came in third.
Yes.
And the first car was just above 50 grams. So I think that was phenomenal on their side.
Yes.
After printing our car, actually, we were about 49 grams, but then paint and stickers added a lot more to it than
Yes.
we expected.
Yes.
So unfortunately, if we were to do it again, maybe we'd try to minimize the weight even more so that we can just match those 50 grams. But after painting. But also, it's a bit of a risk because
Right.
you never know. Each scale is different, and you never know what mass they will be officially taking of your car
True.
and what mass we were weighing in.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a risk, but
Yes.
again, it's high risk, high reward.
Yes. Yes. And also, just talking about last year, is what were some of the major challenges you and your team faced? We know that it was the global pandemic, COVID-19. Can you just take us some of the highlights of things that you guys actually faced, the challenges, and what did you guys do to overcome them?
So that's a great question because we were in a unique position where we were about to go into the competition, but then the pandemic has hit us and it got pushed back. So that gave us some extra time to prepare more. And what we had, we had a lot of challenges with communication and getting things sorted when it comes to anything getting externally done, whether it's printing our car, whether it's more with the design.
Okay.
But again, we had to deal with it, and it's part of the sport, and it's something that real F1 teams go through.
Yes.
And I think we still managed to communicate, we still managed to develop our car, and we still managed to perform some sort of testing, whether we did a lot of virtual testing.
Yeah.
And that has really helped us a lot and gave us an advantage. And again, as a team, you need to work in every circumstance. And as a team manager, I had the responsibility to make it work, no matter the situation where we were in. But at the end of the day, we managed to do it, and we managed to succeed.
Perfect. Marcel, that's excellent. We're ready for the next race, race number 2. I think we had the issue sorted. It's 21 drivers against Titan Motorsports. Cars are locked and loaded. 2 state-of-the-art cars on a state-of-the-art track. Just waiting for the countdown for race 2.
Absolutely. Lights are about to go off. Oh, unfortunately, we had a foul start over there.
False start there for
from
21 drivers, unfortunately, and that's a DNF. Did
That
not
is a
finish.
DNF, yes. And
Unfortunate there. The 1.783 for Titan Motorsports, not too bad. Marcel, any advice to them there?
not too bad, but not too great, to be honest with you. Over there, the reaction time is at 0.286. That's above average, and I think that what we're going to see this afternoon is lots of competitiveness. And I think what you need to do is you need to reduce that reaction time just to get that advantage and to go score well on the leaderboard. I think that's one of your main takeaways. The track performance at 1.497 is not too bad. I think if they get that reaction time down, we can have an exciting race.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, it's a very unfortunate one there, unfortunately, for 21 drivers with a false start.
Yes, the car looked very fast, and I was really excited to see how they would perform.
Yes, but they'll have multiple opportunities. This is not over at all. We're ready for race number 3. Team Alpha and Team Volta. Now, Marcel, let's just quickly, before we go down to the track, let's just quickly talk about this one. Alpha had a pretty impressive mass of 50.6 grams.
Yes.
And as you said before, the all-out important thing is to get as close to 50 as possible.
Yes.
So this should be an extremely exciting race to watch. Alpha lane 1 against Volta in lane 2.
Yes.
Let's go down to the track.
Also, we can see that their cars are very close with their design.
Yes.
And
Beautiful cars.
yes, I like the painting and
Absolutely
I like the
amazing. If you take a
design.
look at the design of both those cars,
yes,
they look pretty speedy.
absolutely.
I think we're going to get some decent things here, Marcel.
Yes. Let's see if the performance matches up to the design.
Yes, cars are locked and loaded. Pretty exciting things
Yes.
happening down by the track.
I think drivers are ready. This is the time where a lot of tension is building
Yes.
up and lots of adrenaline, especially when you go
Yes.
on those red lights
Yes,
and you're just waiting for that countdown.
that's it.
And you know, your team is relying on you and that
Yes.
great reaction time. Lots of stress, lots of adrenaline, but
Huge
lots of fun.
responsibility, Marcel. We're ready to go. Oh, that
Oh.
one's taken by, is it Team
Team Alpha.
Alpha?
Yes.
Team Alpha takes that one. Total race time of 1.356. Reaction time of 0.181 seconds. Looks much better there, Marcel.
Absolutely impressive, and it looks good. We can clearly see after in the slow-mo that they've taken the win over there. In lane 1, Team Alpha, I think they've put a lot of work into the design and a lot of work into minimize the weight, but
Yes.
still fit the regulations.
Yes.
And I think that hard work is paying off.
And also, if you take a look, all are important. The reaction time, 0.181 from Alpha and 0.227 from Volta. Again, the all-out importance of the reaction times, Marcel.
Absolutely.
Still very early in the game. Let's take it to the next one, Marcel, please.
Yes, so now the next race, we've got Turbo Motors in lane 1 versus Veloce in lane 2. Exciting to see how they perform.
Yes, so you've got your Veloce coming in at 67.3 grams and Turbo Motors 58.8. This should be an interesting one, Marcel.
Yes, should be a close one.
Yes,
Unfortunately, the weight of 67.2
yes,
is quite concerning.
yes.
But we never know what will
Let's see.
happen. Let's see.
Let's see. Multiple factors, adrenaline pumping here in the studio, and I'm pretty sure back home as well, as we are getting ready for the next race of round 1. Turbo Motors against Team Veloce.
If you take a look at the logos, beautiful design
Yep.
from Veloce, incorporating the Emirates Falcon,
Yeah, the
I
Emirates
think
Falcon,
it's
yeah.
showing the UAE spirit and
Absolutely.
representing the country in the
Yes.
not only the nationals but
Yes.
hopefully the international competition.
Yes. And Turbo Motors with their flames at the top. Marcel,
Yes.
cars are locked and loaded. Two very different designs, Marcel.
Yes, I think Veloce have taken a pretty smooth approach to be an aerodynamic car, and let's see how they perform.
Let's see how it goes. Seems as if we had a glitch on that one,
some
Marcel.
sort of an issue.
That's all right.
It's all part of the sport.
Yeah, all
These
part of
things happen.
the fun and the thrills. Marcel, just quickly, in terms of the racing here, okay?
Yes.
You guys did not have the opportunity last year to actually be physically present on the track. Will you just, I think it's just important, I think we might be ready for the next race.
Yes, I think that's a rerun, just a technical issue at the track. But if you take a look at those cars, absolutely beautiful. The design
Yep.
that they've put in lane 1, Turbo Motorsports are looking really good.
Absolutely.
Veloce, absolutely smooth car. I think the aerodynamics on that car is on point. Let's see if that
Yep.
will hold up to the performance.
Turbo Motors going with the red and the black, and then Veloce going with those sleek green and black. Oh,
Yes, that was a
yeah,
good
that
one.
one was
Pretty fast.
pretty fast there. And this one's taken by Turbo Motors, this one.
Yes, at
Marcel?
1.437.
Yes,
It's quite good, I think. the reaction time of Volta, if you take a look at 0.13.
You mean Veloce, sorry there.
Yes, Veloce.
Yes.
1.37, I think that's 0.197, yes. I think that's quite impressive under the average, and I think this gave them a bit of an edge, but Turbo Motors definitely had an advantage in the design of their car, and it could be the weight of the car that pushed them to the
If you
victory.
take a look at that replay as well, you can actually see that that there was a slight advantage from the start.
Yes.
And as you rightfully said, that the mass does play a role. Let's take a look, Marcel, at the current leaderboard. At the moment, at the top, we've got Team Alpha leading the competition with a best time of 1.356. Followed very, very closely by Emirates Odyssey on 1.376, 0.020 difference between 1 and 2 at the moment. Turbo Motors, a very good performance from them this year, or during the competition, 1.437, followed by Volta, 1.459. Team Veloce coming in at 5 at the moment at 1.489, and Titan Motorsports at 1.783 at the moment. What would your advice be? Titan Motorsports, 54.1 grams. What would your advice be to them as they now go forward into the racing, as the teams have now started to settle in? I think the nerves have started to settle now. What would your advice now be to those team managers and teams, Marcel?
So I think that the cars are already done and already at a mass of 51 grams. I think that's very, very good.
Yes.
And what they need to do is they need to get that reaction time down, and they can't stress too much. I think right now, if you stress, you might get a foul start, or you might just slip and you might just forget to press or something like that. So relax a bit, you know. I know it's a lot of stress, and I know lots of adrenaline when those lights go out.
Absolutely.
But you have to calm down, and you need to. There's lots of races. I think we've got 6 races for each team aligned, and there will be many chances to score on that leaderboard. So if you just relax and take a deep breath just before you go, I think you can get that reaction time well. Start off, and then. That's the way to win.
Yes. Such valuable information and advice here for the teams back down at the track. Marcel, just to get back to you guys not having this opportunity last year, just give our viewers back home just an idea of how did it work virtually? How did you guys actually set your cars in motion at the national event last year?
Yes, so due to the pandemic and due to the restrictions that were in place, we couldn't unfortunately go live to the track, and we couldn't have this amazing opportunity that they're having this afternoon. And what we had to do was they provided us with a virtual simulation, and what we did was we were practicing on that, and then at a time they allowed us to submit 4 official recordings of our reaction time. And those 4 were for 4 races, because we were racing twice, and we were racing both of our cars twice. So we were racing and we were switching lanes just to keep that fair. That's what we were actually having in round 2. And they recorded those times and they added them to the total time. Obviously, it wasn't as exciting, being there on the track and doing it yourself live. But it is what it is, and we had to make it work.
Yes.
And we actually got a really good reaction time with one of our teammates.
Yes.
We got down to 0.10 something, 0.101, I think, and one of the best ones.
Absolutely mind-blowing that one time.
That was, yes, I think it gave us a big advantage. And at that moment when we were racing, we actually scored, put us on the first in the leaderboard, and we were really excited. And then we ended up coming 3rd, but overall it was a great experience, and overall it was something that even though the pandemic has made it harder, we still enjoyed the event, and we still managed to make it work. I think that right now, this afternoon's participants are fortunate to have this track set up at our school
Yes.
and attending the event live.
Yes.
Not only it's more fun, but it gives them a lot of edge and practice when it comes to going into the national competition. Because if once you do something once and then you're going to do it again,
Absolutely.
you're more prepared and it won't be as stressful, hopefully, over there. And hopefully we can see some success from our school in those national finals and hopefully make it to the international competition.
Of course, that's the big one.
Absolutely.
Is the international event. Marcel, just as our viewers and people that are not too familiar with F1, I think what might be useful information is if we just tell them that the F1inSchools, the different categories, you've got your professional category and you've got your rookie category. And then for the students that are a bit younger, we've got the Formula Ithara.
Yes.
Will you take us just through what are the differences between the professional and the rookie categories
Right.
for the Formula One in schools?
Right. So you start off at a young age, maybe with the Ithara competition,
Yes.
and that doesn't involve much software design. So what you go over there is you build a car, and once you build the car, you design it on a paper.
Right.
You have to cut it up and then sort of fold it together to make a design.
Right.
It's something nice for a younger age and something nice to experience.
Yes.
But then when you get a little bit older and you really want to participate in the competition, you step into the rookie category.
Yes.
The rookie category is for first-timers,
Yes.
and it will be for the younger age.
Yes.
I think if you're below 16, then you're not allowed to below 16 you can participate. Above 16, you have to go into the professional category.
Right.
So over there, the regulations are a bit different. For example, and the cars are a bit different. So for example, the printing, the finish of the material is different.
Yes.
And at the bottom of the car, it will be a flat. But for example, for us in the professional category, it was hollow, so it gave us a few advantages. We could have stripped off some weight at the bottom.
Right.
We could have went a lot into the design, but also the regulations are much stricter over there.
Right.
And you really need to be in the professional category. You really need to be paying careful attention because you can score penalty points.
Yes.
And actually, the whole competition is not just about the racing. It's you need to score out of 800 points. You need to try to score as much as you can.
That's it.
So the race is only 200 points.
Yes.
You have 200 points for a presentation that you do.
Right.
Normally, we would have a presentation live and in the nationals, but what we had to do was we had to do it virtually.
Right.
And it was a pre-recorded virtual presentation.
Yes.
But usually over there, we would have to present naturally to judges.
Okay.
And that was out of 200 points. And then after that, you have the team portfolio.
Yes.
So you make a 20-page document portfolio,
Yes.
documenting your whole process.
Yes.
Because, again, it's not just about the race. It's about the whole process of what happened, how you did it, how you came to where you are, how you designed your car,
Yes.
what you did with your sponsors, how did you approach them,
Yes.
how did you get your funding, how was your marketing and your design. And lastly, you have the overall performance on the track.
Right.
And how you perform over there. And I think overall, you need to focus on on all areas. You need to try to score as much as you can
Yes.
in all of them. And definitely, it's something that will give you an advantage even if you don't perform as well in the race.
Marcel, thank you so much for that. I've just been told we're ready for the next race.
Yes, so right now, next race, after the break, we have Emirates Odyssey versus 21 drivers in lane 2.
Yes.
It's interesting to see this one. First time we see 21 drivers. I'm excited to see
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
car and how they will perform.
So we've got Emirates Odyssey 51.2 grams and 21 drivers coming out at 62.3 grams. So it might just come down to that all-out important reaction time, Marcel.
Absolutely.
Let's go down to the track live now as we are ready for the next race of round number 1.
Lights are about to go out.
Take a look there, lane 1, Emirates Odyssey. Ooh, something happened
Something
there.
happened over there. We might have some failure.
Might be
That is
Yeah.
very, very unfortunate because
so
they had
21
a...
drivers takes this one.
Yes, unfortunate for Emirates Odyssey because they had a great reaction time. If you take a look
Yes.
at 0.56, 0.46 or 66, that's amazing. That's
Yes.
way under the average.
Take a look at this one again, Marcel. I'm not sure what happened exactly. Let's just see if we can see in the action replay. If we can see, it seems as if the car left the blocks.
Yes, it did leave the blocks. I'm not
Let's
sure what
just
happened
see.
over there.
It was fired.
Let's have a look. Yes, it did go. But I can see that it's not attached to the string, and I remember them getting a penalty point for
Yes.
not having that separation guide to keep the car on the track. Maybe something unfortunate happened over there.
Could be. Unfortunately, a do not finish or did not finish for Emirates Odyssey in that one. 21 drivers, a sterling job there. Total race time of 1.564 seconds.
Yes, I think that will put them on in the top 4 in the leaderboard.
Looking good, Marcel, and we're
Yes.
ready for the next race. It is Titan Motorsports against Team Volta. And we've spoken about these designs before.
Yes.
2 pretty impressive teams against again here, Marcel.
Yes, we've got pretty similar logos. I mean, interpreting the Falcon
Yes.
into it. Very nice. I love the color schemes.
Yes.
I think it's matching
Let's go
the
down
cars.
to the track, Marcel.
Yes.
To state-of-the-art cars, again on a state-of-the-art track. Oh, whoa!
That was
Marcel,
a quick
that
one.
was
That
amazing.
was that was very close. Very
That
close.
was incredible.
Let's just see who took that. 1.525 in lane 1 by
Yeah.
Titan Motorsport. Amazing performance.
That's absolutely amazing. Reaction times also, if you take a look at 0.229 and 0.224 respectively.
Very close.
close
Yes,
reaction
very
times.
close. I think
2
that
really good performances here.
yes,
Almost indistinguishable at the end.
absolutely.
This is incredible stuff. But in the end, this one was taken by Titan Motorsports.
Yes, I
This
think.
is-
Wow, very close, very close. Even in
It's
slow
getting
mo, you
tight,
can't
and I
tell
think
who won.
As
Yes,
the teams get more comfortable and relaxed, I think we're going to see some pretty exciting things in round 2, Marcel.
absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Marcel.
Up next, we've got 21 drivers versus Alpha. We've seen amazing performance from Alpha at the top of the leaderboard.
Absolutely.
Let's see if they stay consistent and age constant with
Let's see
the
how-
21 drivers in lane 2. Also,
Our current
Pretty
leaders,
interesting car.
Alpha, here against 21 drivers. A solid performance by 21 drivers in the previous one. We're already down by the track. Let's see. Our next one, 21 drivers versus Alpha. This should be an exciting one.
yes. Yeah, some difficulties at the track. I
that's
mean,
right.
it's all part of the sport.
Yep.
You know how it is, managing things and getting things sorted can be difficult
Yes.
at times.
Yes.
But we have to do what we have to do.
That's it. Marcel, just to quickly talk about the current race. I mean, Team Alpha, we spoke about it just before the race.
Yes.
They came in at the lowest mass of all the 7 cars at 50.6 grams.
Yes.
And would you say that that makes it sort of predictable that they should be currently leading the leaderboard?
Absolutely. I think that's my prediction for this afternoon for them to score first.
Okay.
I mean, 50.6 grams, that's
Yes.
very impressive. And that's something that even we weren't able to achieve.
Yes.
And I think if they stay consistent with their performance, we've seen amazing reaction times from them.
That's it.
Even if they just try to shave that time just a little bit more,
Yes.
I think we can be looking at the fastest car and the fastest time.
Excellent. Marcel, just while we wait for them down by the track to get ready,
Yes.
let's just go back to, you were talking about the Formula 1 in schools not just being about racing. Today, of course, a great opportunity for students to race their cars, to see what they've done. But looking ahead, what should they be expecting and what should they be preparing as they build up towards the national event?
So the 4 winners will be going into the national event, and that's where it gets serious.
Yes.
So over there, when you go into the national event, you know, you're competing across everyone from the entire UAE, schools from different regions. And what you have over there is that everyone is going in with their absolute best, and everyone is putting in everything that they have into the car, into the portfolio, to the team. And you really need to be confident, and you really need to be just going above and beyond if you want to perform well. And I think the main takeaway, again, as I said, is to reduce the weight of the car and practice your reaction time.
Again, Marcel says it's the mass of the car that's the key thing. We're ready for the next race down by the track. Cars are locked and loaded. Again, 2 very speedy cars, Marcel.
Yes.
We should be seeing some good things here. Locked and loaded, ready for the next race.
Very fast.
Absolutely mind-blowing. 1.385 by Team Alpha. Team Alpha is really breaking loose here,
Yes,
Marcel.
I think they're beating themselves only.
Yes, absolutely. And again, if you take a look at those reaction times, 0.191. Again, setting the tone for an amazing race time.
Absolutely.
Team Alpha doing extremely well at the moment.
Absolutely. If you take a look at 21 drivers, 0.253. Not too bad, but if they want to score on that leaderboard, they must bring it down.
I think 21 drivers, they're looking at that race. I think a bit of advice for them there is really that reaction time.
Absolutely. I think their car is solid. You can see that design is great, and their track time is also great. But Alpha at 1.194, I think that might be just the fastest we've seen this afternoon. Hopefully, we'll see something faster. If you can just look at the leaderboard again, Alpha at first with 1.356. That's absolutely amazing. But if you take a look at Emirates Odyssey, they are just 0.02 seconds away, and they're catching up. You know.
So if you take a look at the bottom one now, 1.564 for 21 drivers. Everybody is still in this.
Yes.
These times are so extremely close that anything can pretty much happen. And if you think about this, we had a 1.7 best time at the last position during the previous review that we had, and now we're 1.5. So things are definitely improving.
Yes.
Means they're getting comfortable, they're settling in, they're getting the hang of it. And I think we're going to be up for some amazing races leading as we go ahead in the competition.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay, Marcel, and as we're just waiting for the next race, if you, again, just for the purpose of promoting the event, as part of this, we are definitely looking for more students to participate in this really amazing event.
Absolutely.
What would your words of encouragement be to students that are thinking, should I or shouldn't I? Am I good enough or am I not good enough? What advice can you give students that are sort of in the balance, should I or shouldn't I, and am I good enough or am I not good enough?
So this competition, I think what's nice is that it's a team effort.
Yes.
So I don't think anyone should be thinking, am I good enough, am I not good enough? I think you should challenge yourself, and I think that's just the way to go in life, is go get into those uncomfortable situations and make yourself feel, you don't need to feel bad about it, but just make yourself in those situations so that you can excel. And if you challenge yourself, then you'll definitely be learning a lot in life. And this competition, as we mentioned before, it's a big learning experience, and it's a nice opportunity that's available. I think this is the first inter-school, and I think that all made possible by the wonderful sponsors, Al Habtoor Motors, supported by ADNOC and the EISJ to bring us this wonderful opportunity. I think every student should participate, and I think everyone should form a nice team and just try it out, because it's really a wonderful experience.
Couldn't agree with you more there, Marcel. Marcel, we're ready for the next race. Turbo Motors against Emirates Odyssey. A pretty steady performance by Turbo Motors, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Very proud of these year 10s in that group.
Yes.
Let's take a look. We're ready for this race.
Emirates Odyssey were second in the leaderboard, and they were off by just 0.02. Let's see if this race will put them on top. as the lights go out.
Oh,
Very, very
Emirates Odyssey
fast.
taking that one at 1.458 seconds total race time. Reaction time 0.169 seconds. That's pretty impressive, Marcel.
That's very impressive, and I think that's the fastest we've seen this afternoon. Really amazing. If you take a look at this slow-mo, it
Yes.
really gave them a big advantage.
Yes.
And just look at that gap. It gave them the win. I think it really gave them the win because the track times are very similar. But if we take a look
Compliments.
again, quick launch from the
Absolutely
box.
fantastic reaction times. Both teams coming in below 0.2 seconds on their reaction times. Incredible job by both teams.
Absolutely. I think that's going to move Turbo Motors just above in the leaderboard.
These guys are really setting the standard and now raising the bar one level higher, Marcel.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to take a look at this again. Team Alpha still at the top at
Yes.
1.356. Emirates Odyssey second, 1.376. And then Turbo Motors still a very steady performance by these guys, 1.437.
Yes, I think they've just climbed the third place, and I think it's a solid performance by them. Let's see if they can keep it up and maybe jump into the second place.
The difference between third and second place at the moment, Marcel, about less than 0.1 seconds.
Yes.
And you can vouch for that just with reference back to last year's race, where you guys just missed second place
Yes,
during
was,
the national event.
Yes, it was very, very close. And unfortunately, we didn't manage to score in the second place. I think that it's really a small, really fast cars and 25-meter long track, so it's not a small track, but just the cars are so fast, hitting 60, 70 kilometers an hour, so every tiny millisecond counts.
Marcel, we're ready for the next race. Will you take this
Absolutely.
one for us, please?
So the next race is Veloce versus 21 drivers. Veloce in lane 1, 21 drivers in lane 2. Let's see how they perform.
This race number 9 of
Yes.
round 1.
Beautiful cars.
Both
Really
cars going with a
lots of thought went into the design just to
green
make it.
shade, ready for race number 9.
I think I saw an
Okay,
amazing
Marcel.
reaction time over there at 0.181.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Team Veloce takes this one, 1.651 seconds, and then we've got 21 drivers coming on just a little bit slower
Yes.
at 1.658.
Yes, I think that they really caught up. If you-
651, sorry.
They really did catch up. If you take a look at the launch over here in slow-mo, you can see that they were quite far off. But if you take a look at the end over here, they were very close.
Yes.
So I think the reaction time did
Reaction
give
time, they-
Veloce an advantage, but 21 drivers are trying to catch up. I'm really excited to see how they perform in the next races.
Absolutely. Some really exciting stuff awaits us there. If you take a look again, Marcel, Team Veloce coming in at 67.3 grams, 21 drivers coming in at 62.3 grams. Both these cars slightly on the heavier side, if you think.
Yes, absolutely. I think those are closely more to the rookie category.
Yes.
And I think that these cars should have, you can see that my theory is proven correct with the mass of the car scoring. If you take a look at the leaderboard, we have Alpha at 50 grams, and at the bottom we have Veloce at 67 grams. I think that's the main factor and main key takeaway. And again, it's all a learning experience. Nothing stops them from joining back next year with an improved car, with less weight, and hopefully we'll have an exciting competition also over there.
Yes. Marcel, as we continue to talk about the mass and the weight of the car, I think it might be useful for our viewers at home just to tell them what material do they actually manufacture the car body out of?
So the body is actually out of it's almost like a foam.
Yes.
And it's made out the front wing and the rear wing and the wheels are printed, 3D printed by an amazing machine that I had the opportunity to see at the YAS track, and it's all those are made out of plastic, and then the car itself is made out of this. It's CNC machined. So if you they would take a block and then they sort of shave it off just to perfect that shape, and it's a timely process. It takes quite a few hours to do that, but it's an amazing machine, and it comes out exactly how you submit your design. So the process would be you creating a design on a software and then just sending that file on, and then machine would be able to perfectly manufacture it. And that's a big role comes in over here to the manufacturing engineer, where they work sort of hand in hand. And in the actual competition in the national finals, what happens is the manufacturing engineers, they're on site to watch the manufacturing and to do the manufacturing, putting the car together, and I think it's a wonderful experience and something nice to see.
Yes. So, as we are still waiting just down for the track to get ready, Marcel, let's just continue talking about this whole process. As we said, this whole show is also, I think we're ready now. Marcel,
let's go to the track.
Next one. Will you do the next one for us, please?
Yes, so I've got Emirates Odyssey in lane 1 up against Titan Motorsports in lane 2. I think both have had a really good performance this afternoon.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited to see this race, and I'm really excited to see how they perform.
Titan Motorsports at 54.1 grams, Emirates Odyssey 51.2 grams.
Very close. If you take a look at their cars, they're also amazing design, also close. Let's see
for the next
as the lights go out. Oof, amazing performance. As you can see, there was a...
Extremely. Look at that reaction time, Marcel. 0.148.
Very impressive.
Total race time of 1.411. Now we're talking business. I think with this 1.411, this is big business. Now we're getting down to it.
Absolutely. I think this is going to push them up in that leaderboard. And that amazing reaction time of 0.148, I think this is the fastest we've seen this afternoon.
Absolutely.
Amazing performance. You can take a look at the huge advantage they had while going out of that box, and see coming into the pit lane. Yes, that was really our action time, big advantage over there. And Emirates Odyssey, I think they're securing their second place really firmly on that leaderboard. Absolutely.
If you take a look at it, and again, I know we've said this multiple times, but again, the mass advantage.
Absolutely.
Coming, I think, as one of the key factors in this competition.
Absolutely. So.
So Marcel, as they get the cars ready for the next race, let's just quickly go back again, as we're going to use the show as part of promoting it and getting future students involved as well.
Yes.
We've now spoken about the manufacturing of the car body being made out of foam. Once you get your car body and your parts back, what are the next steps then? Do you assemble it? Do you then send it for painting? Or what would your advice be there to teams that are going to participate in this event in future?
Yes, so once you get your car back, you need to really plan ahead to put a lot of time between the competition. You don't want to rush these things in last minute, because you never know if this is your final car. You might have multiple prototypes, you might want to redesign. So what we did was we got our car a few weeks before the event, and that gave us enough time to just make a few changes and once again send it back and get a new car. So at this point, once you get your car, it gets really exciting, because all you've been working on and everything you've been building, you finally have it physically. And then what you do is, when you have the manufacturing car, you test the car, then you get it painted, and then you finalize everything, send it off, and head to the race.
Excellent, Marcel. Thank you very much. And I think we're ready for the next race. This would be race number 11. And unfortunately, I've been told that Team Volta is not going to be racing in this one, Marcel. There was a front wing that they've lost, unfortunately, in the previous race. So hopefully they can prepare it now.
Yes.
But this will be a solo race for 21 drivers, and the focus here, get your reaction time down.
Yes.
So we get a good race time, yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's very unfortunate that we don't have another car over there, but it's all part of the sport.
That's it.
Things happen.
Let's take a look. Car is locked, 21 drivers, all by its own here. Let's see what they can do in this solo race. .262 reaction time.
Yes, a great reaction time. Not a bad performance. Overall time at 1.545.
Yes.
I think that's pretty solid.
Yes.
And it's really nice to see
Pretty
that they've
decent
been working.
performance there, Marcel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The reaction time, 0.262. If we just take a look at this action replay again, the track time, 1.283. A really good performance by this team, Marcel.
Absolutely. A really good performance. I think they're staying consistent, and that's what's important. And I think that if they just work a bit on that reaction time, maybe they can move up the leaderboard, and we can see something exciting.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
if we take a look at that leaderboard
let's
right
go
now.
back to the leaderboard now, Marcel, and again, Team Alpha at the top with 1.356, followed by Emirates Odyssey still hanging in there, 1.376. Turbo Motors 1.437, Volta coming in at 1.459, Veloce 1.489. These times are incredibly close. Titan Motorsports 1.525 and 21 drivers 1.545. And Marcel, if you think about this realistically, what is absolutely fascinating about this is 1.5 seconds.
Yes.
So I don't think we really realize how fast these cars are actually going down this track.
Extremely fast. I think they reach a speed of almost 60 to 70 kilometers an hour, which is very, very impressive. And it's just a 25-meter track. And I think, once again, if you have such a light car and you have such a lot of power, provided it gets you places. Okay, so let's go back to the track.
A lot of action and drama here at the Emirates International School Jumeirah Race Day, sponsored by Alap Tour Motors. Marcel, we're ready for the next race.
Yes, so we've got Alpha in lane 1 against Turbo Motors in lane 2. Alpha have been taking the top spot and having amazing performance this afternoon, with Turbo Motors actually being in the top 4 and hoping to secure a place to go into the national finals.
So we've got the leaderboard. Well, the number 1 on the leaderboard at the moment is Team Alpha. They would be racing against Turbo Motors in this one. Let's take a look. The cars are locked and loaded. Turbo Motors in the red and black, Alpha in the purple and black. Oh, again.
Very fast.
Consistent performance.
Absolutely.
By Team Alpha. 0.190 reaction time and a total race time of 1.396 seconds. This is pretty impressive stuff.
Absolutely. I think they're about to beat themselves. I think that's all very close to their best time.
Yes.
And we can see that they're performing consistently. And we can see that their cars are very similar in design.
The designs seem to be very similar, but you can see Turbo Motors, they're very slow out of the starting blocks.
Yes, it's all about the reaction time, let's be honest.
Unfortunately, yes. It comes down again to reaction time, and Team Alpha is just absolutely dominating matters at the moment.
Absolutely.
So Marcel, just while we get ready for the next race, a team like Team Alpha now, they've done a pretty good job at getting their car down to 50.6 grams.
Yes.
How do you further improve on your car? Let's say now they come out as number 1 today. They get the opportunity to represent Emirates International School Jumeirah at the national event. How do you further improve on something which is already doing a pretty good job?
Yes, so if you take a look at their car and if you take a look at that mass, very impressive.
Yes.
Now, the only thing is, being the best in the school competition, you're going up against everyone else who was the best in the school competition. So you do really need even a bigger advantage if you want to score well. A time of 1.3, 35 almost. That time is pretty average at the national competition, actually. So what you need to do is you need to get that time to 1.1, maybe 1.2. That's what's going to get you high in that leaderboard, and that's what can give you an advantage to win. Again, there's only one winner, and the first place that goes into the international competition, and that is just amazing to go into that competition. So I think every team will be aiming for that. So what I would advise the winning team is to, again, if they're minimizing their weight, that they can't go any further, the next thing to minimize on is their drag coefficient. So you need to do a lot of virtual testing on virtual wind tunnels, and you need to do a lot of testing on softwares to see how aerodynamically how your car is performing. Try to reduce the drag coefficient. Try to reduce the things that pushing your car back, because at this point, if you have your good mass and you have a good reaction time and you're aerodynamic, I think that's the success. And I think that's the formula to success, and I think that's the key.
Absolutely. And as we just wait for them to get the track ready for us, Marcel, I think what would be... we've just been informed that we're ready for the next race.
Let's see.
This is race number 13, Veloce against Titan Motorsports. Veloce coming in at 67.3 grams, and Titan Motorsports coming in at 54.1 grams. Marcel, pretty big mass difference between these two cars.
Absolutely.
Locked and loaded, and we are ready for the next race.
Yes, I think the mass difference is going to show us, and that's what's going to show the advantage over here. But let's see, maybe the reaction times will help them.
Maybe they can swing things around. Oh, that one.
Oh, very unfortunate. We had a foul start.
There by Veloce,
yes.
Unfortunately. DNF did not finish, but an amazing performance there by, we've got our Titan Motorsports. 0.369 seconds. Not the best reaction time.
Yes, I don't think so. A bit of a rookie number, if you ask me.
Yes.
I think that this is something that they need to improve on.
Absolutely.
I think in their previous races they had better reaction time, and but again, you don't want to get too into it and then get a foul start as just Veloce just did. You need to find that right balance, just as Team Alpha is doing. I think they're absolutely dominating.
Let's take a look, and as you rightfully said there's the leaderboard at the moment. Again, Alpha still just dominating, 1.356, still the fastest time. Emirates Odyssey coming now 1.376, Turbo Motors 1.3437. So the top three still pretty much consistent with Alpha, Emirates Odyssey, and Turbo Motors.
Absolutely.
If you take a look there now at 5 and 6, it seems as if there's something happening down there. We now have Team Veloce in 5th place at 1.489, and Volta still hanging on to that all-out important 4th place, as only 4 teams will have the opportunity to represent Emirates International School Jumeirah at this year's national event. But still pretty tight, Marcel, and still pretty open as we get ready for the next race of round 1.
Absolutely. So what we can see right now is that we're going into the next race. We have Emirates Odyssey in lane 1 versus Team Alpha in lane 2. Yes. And let's go back, let's go down to the track, and let's see the process of the cars being set up. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a string, and I know this is maybe for the viewers, they might not know why we're having such a string, and it might be something confusing. So that's why I'm going to explain. So what we have is, as we just mentioned, that the cars are going extremely fast at 60, 70 kilometers an hour, finishing a distance of 25 meters at almost 1.5 seconds. I think that something so this is like a safety precaution, and just we don't want the cars to go off track, or we don't want them to fly off track. We just want them to stay balanced. So what we do is we have this string thread across the entire track, and at the bottom of the car there is these sort of like hoops, and which are bolted into the cars, and the string is put through that just to keep the track and the car in the track, just for extra precaution. And then, as we saw, they were putting the CO2 chambers, the CO2 cylinders at the back of the car.
Locking them into those CO2 canisters now,
yes,
right?
Those are that's where the power comes from.
That's it.
And right now, when they press the button, it gets penetrated, and that's the the gas that you see flying off, and that's what pushes the car. So
we're ready for race 14 of round 1. Emirates Odyssey against the leaders at the moment, Team Alpha.
this is going to be an interesting one and a tight one because we're racing 1 versus 2.
Yes.
Let's see how this will go.
Number 1 against number 2.
A close performance,
Yeah,
as we can
this
see.
is a
Emirates
pretty good
Odyssey just took this one with their amazing reaction time of 0.193,
Yes.
and still didn't grab the win as Alpha with a total time of 1.453.
Yeah.
I think that that car just gave them, that mass gave them a big
Absolutely.
advantage, and I can't even imagine what would happen if they reduced that reaction time.
Emirates Odyssey did a bit of an upset year, Marcel, as the favorites now did not win this one this one race. But it's not over yet. There's
Not yet.
still a lot of action coming. Let's just
Absolutely.
take a look at these action replays, Marcel, to see what happened at the start and how things happen at the end. Take a look at the start.
Yeah, so off the start, I think we can clearly notice the
can see
reaction
Alpha.
time. Yes, you
Yes.
can see that the reaction time is what propels you at the beginning,
Absolutely.
but still the Alpha ended up grabbing that win post the fact that I think it's, you know, the weight of the car, the aerodynamics, and it's a
Yes.
25-meter track, so a lot can happen in that distance.
Marcel, and you know what's amazing about this is that this competition, there are so many variables
Absolutely.
that come into play on the day that you can't really, you can do as much preparation, and you can obviously vouch for this, is that you can do as much preparation as you can potentially, but it all really comes down to what are the conditions of the track on the day, what is the air pressure, what are things like humidity. I don't know if that was something you guys actually knew, were actually factors that actually influences the performance of the car on the day.
Yes, so there's, as you said, there's many performance and there's many variables that you can't control,
Yes.
but there's many variables that you do control, and the key is to minimize those and to maximize your chances.
Absolutely.
And let's see.
Marcel, we're ready for race number 15 of round number 1.
Yes, let's get back to the track, and we can see that now we have 21 drivers up against turbo motors. In lane 1, 21 drivers, and in lane 2, turbo motors. I think this is going to be an interesting one. They're very close to each other in the leaderboard. I think 21 drivers want to go on top of that leaderboard. They're currently, unfortunately, at the last place, and I think that if they get their reaction time down, they can maybe climb up.
Yep, locked and loaded. You're waiting for the countdown. Oh, that was
A
not
very
a bad
close
one
one.
there, Marcel. 0.251 and 0.218. Turbo Motors taking this one. Pretty good performance by these gentlemen. Overall race time for Turbo Motors, 1.544. Not
Yes,
bad.
not bad at all. But I think that if you want to go on the top of the leaderboard, you need to get that down. And if you want to make it to the nationals and you want to succeed and you want to make it to the internationals, you really need to work on that car and work on that reaction time. But I think it's still amazing what they've managed to do in such a short period of time to manufacture those cars and print those cars and do all this work and all this design.
If we take a look at this one, Marcel, I think what's pretty amazing about this is, again, although the masses were pretty low and high, it does really, there are so many factors that we just spoke about just before this race, as in how many factors can actually influence the outcome of this race.
Absolutely. If you take a look at this replay over here in slow-mo, you can see that despite the advantage in reaction time, the car still managed to make up for it at the end of the race.
Yes.
And again, it's two components. It's your race and your reaction time.
Absolutely.
And I think that just makes it more interesting and just makes the competition a lot more exciting.
Definitely. Marcel, a question that I often get from students is, we spoke about the CO2 canisters. that these cars are actually positioned, they are locked and loaded into the CO2 canisters. Would it be possible just to, you very familiar being part of last year's competition as well and having studied the regulations very well, what are the technicalities in terms of designing that canister, can we say a CO2 where they position the CO2 in used for firing? Can you just give us, our viewers, a little bit of detail as to how do you design it, what are you allowed to do, and what are you not allowed to do?
Absolutely. So there is very, very, very specific measurements that you absolutely have to follow. And, you know, it's a small tank. It's almost like an AA battery. It's, it goes in the back of the car. And you really must keep it, the circumference of that entrance, you must keep it exact, almost the same as the chamber almost the same as the canister itself, because you want it to be tight and you don't want it to be loose and you don't want to penetrate and you don't want to lose your power. I think this is a really key component. And something interesting that I think not many people know is that you're not allowed to paint that section and that you're not allowed to paint the inside. You get penalty points for that.
Very interesting. Thank you, Marcel, for that. We are ready for the next race.
Oh, we can see that Volta have been repaired and their car is ready now as we go into the next race. Volta versus Veloce, an interesting one.
Yeah, Volta against Veloce. Volta with the orange and black, and Veloce coming with the green and black. Ready for the next race, race number 16. Close one there, Marcel.
Yes, another close one, another exciting one. And these are very, very big times. I think we've seen this afternoon a bit better.
Yes, I think this is a 1.710 and 1.740. Not two of the fastest times that we've seen so far.
Absolutely not. But again, it was a close race and an exciting one, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at these again from the start. Very close as they go out of the CO2 canisters. Let's take a look at this. And, well, despite of what happened in the previous races, Team Alpha is still holding on to that best total time spot of 1.356. Odyssey still second, 1.376. Turbo Motors now in third place.
Yes.
Turbo Motors now in third place, 1.437. And Team Volta hanging on to that fourth all-out important spot, 1.459.
Yes.
A little bit of work to do for Veloce, Titan, Motorsports, and 21 drivers.
Absolutely.
But still a lot of racing ahead of us, Marcel.
Yes, we still got the second round and a few races this round. But what's really interesting, what I'd like to point out is that Veloce have the heaviest car, and they're still managing to score fifth. So I think that they've done an excellent job in their aerodynamic department, and I think their car design was done really well, and I think they're getting that reaction time down, and they're trying to do their best to score, and it's all about that. It's all about taking advantage of the situations, and you should never give up, even though you might have not the greatest car. You should not give up. You should try your best, as this is a real proof of that.
Absolutely, and this is what makes this competition so incredible, is the fact that anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
This is how unpredictable this whole thing is. As we said, air pressure, humidity on the day. And these kids are racing in this beautiful gym facility, PE hall, that we have down at Emirates International School, Jumeirah campus. One would think that there are not many external factors that could actually make a difference. But things like humidity is just something that you wouldn't think of. And was that something that you guys actually kept in mind when you did your planning for last year's event?
So what we knew is that, well, everyone is racing in the same room. So that's, again, it's something that will disadvantage you, but it's something that will disadvantage everyone.
Yes.
So we didn't pay very close attention to it.
Yes.
But what we tried to do was we tried to, for example, get our car finished in a glossy paint rather than a matte paint. So that, as you know, the glossy paint there could come off a bit better on that, and you could have a slight advantage in the aerodynamics. However, we found that the glossy paint just would weigh a bit more than our matte paint, so because it required more than one layer. So we decided to hold on that and minimize the weight of the car. And I think that despite the slight advantage that a glossy paint would give us, I think the lower mass gave us a bigger advantage, so we decided to go for that. So as you said, there's a lot of factors, but you need to make priorities. And again, it's all part of the sport, making priorities and making the best choices. And sometimes it's taking a risk, but it can be very rewarding.
Oh, Marcel, thank you very much for that. And we're ready for the next one. This one is race number 17. This is Titan Motorsports versus Turbo Motors. So Turbo Motors, pretty impressive, currently in 3rd place.
Yes, absolutely.
This would be an interesting one. As we go down to the track, Turbo Motors in the red and black, and Titan Motorsports in the very sleek, long design, black and white car. Ready for race number 17. Oof.
An amazing goal.
Absolutely amazing. If you
Absolutely
look at that,
amazing.
0.163 the reaction time. Total race time 1.439. A much better performance by Titan Motorsports.
That's very, very good, and I think that's going to climb them on that leaderboard. And I think that just gave them the advantage over there. An amazing performance, and you can see that there's quite a gap between the finishes.
Yes.
And I think it's the reaction time as well as the car. Oof, you could
see that reaction time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Titan Motorsports like a rocket out of that CO2 canister.
Yes.
And that is evident in that 0.163 reaction time, which is all out important. Marcel, we're ready for our next one.
Next one, and we're coming close to an end of round 1, and we've got Emirates Odyssey in lane 1 against Volta in lane 2. And this is an amazing event that we're having, and an exciting race to see next. Really exciting event and really amazing, thankfully provided by the EISJ campus, and thankful for the support of the sponsors, Habtoor Motors, and supported by ADNOC and EISJ. As we head down to the track, we can see the orange car is really vibrant. Oh, something off over there with the front wing. I mean,
some final adjustments
yes,
there to their car.
they did have an accident, but let's see.
Yes,
let's see how that will affect their performance.
Let's see. This race number 18, Emirates Odyssey against Team Volta.
Whoa. Some parts flying off, some things. I think Volta
was bad, went wrong there. 0.153 and 0.245
for Volta.
For Volta.
I saw
Emirates
some parts
there.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this. This would be interesting to see, Marcel.
Yes, I think
there they go.
Something happened at the end. Let's just have a look. The Volta car did fall apart.
Yeah, totally.
As you can see right now, some of the side, some parts flying off. Oh, very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, isn't it?
Yes, that's why in the actual competition we do get 2 cars, just one as a backup in case things like this happen, because it's very unpredictable. I mean, these things are going at a very, very, very fast speed, and you never know what can happen.
Absolutely. So hopefully they can get something sorted there to actually allow them to race, to continue racing. And as you rightfully said, Marcel, last year, what helped you with in the national event was that you had to make 2 cars.
Yes.
So I just had confirmation here that from the previous race is that we did have a DNF, unfortunately.
Yes, when you have anything with your car falling apart, that's an automatic DNF.
That's it.
In the national competition, and we're carrying these rules on.
Absolutely. So this would now be. I hope that things would actually work out for Team Volta, that they would actually be able to fix that car.
Yes.
So, sorry, I was just corrected there. It's Emirates Odyssey that fell apart.
Oh.
Not Team Volta. Sorry about that one. Emirates Odyssey that fell apart and not Team Volta. So Emirates Odyssey hopefully can do something to their car. But we could see right from the start, Marcel, as it was actually locked and loaded into the CO2 canister, that there were some injuries to the car.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And this is very unfortunate because Emirates Odyssey were performing really solid.
Absolutely.
And they had a constant well performance. And
Yes.
we saw that they're second in the leaderboard.
Yes.
Hopefully they can keep their place without racing.
Yes.
But it is a bit of a disadvantage. So let's see how the other teams maybe could climb up in the second round.
Rightfully so. Let's take a look at that all-out important leaderboard as we, after that dramatic event in the last race. Marcel, still Alpha leading it, 1.356. Odyssey, unfortunately now, currently in the second place and now had the DNF, and hopefully they can sort something out for them there. Turbo Motors, really impressed with them in third place in 1.437 seconds. And Titan Motorsports hanging on to that all-out important fourth spot. But if you take a look at that, there's 0.020 difference between fourth and fifth. And the closer we're going to get to the end, the important thing, the importance of those differences is going to determine which 4 teams is going to represent our school at the national event later in May this year.
Absolutely. We can see that it's very close. So I think we're going to have an exciting round 2.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and it was exciting to see it. I think Titan Motorsport just claimed that 4th place.
Yes.
And Volta fell back, unfortunately, to the 5th place.
Absolutely.
Let's see if we can have a change and Volta can get back to those to that 4th place.
Yes.
I think Team Titan are working on their reaction time.
Absolutely.
I think they'll have a solid performance, and I think that they will be hanging on.
Marcel, just before we go to the next set of races, I've just been told that we've got a camera by the damaged car down at the track. Let's take a look at the damage crossing down live to the track.
Very unfortunate to see such damage done. Let's have a look.
So let's take a look there, Marcel.
Oh, I can see the wheels and the shaft.
There's tremendous damage.
I don't think they'll be able to race again.
It appears as if it's all over.
Unfortunately. Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. That's unfortunately part of the injuries of the game.
Yes.
This is the fun and the drama that goes with Formula One in schools racing.
Yes.
So unfortunately, it seems as if Emirates Odyssey will be out of the remainder of the races.
Yes, very unfortunate, but at least they were able to manage to score on that leaderboard. Let's see if they will hold on to their second place.
Second place.
Yes.
So if that was a good enough performance, then hopefully they would be able to hold on to that one. And I've been told we're ready to rock and roll with the next race.
Let's have a look.
Race number 19, Marcel.
Race number 19. We're getting close to the end of round 1, and we've got Titan Motorsport in lane 1 up against Alpha in lane 2. This is going to be an interesting one.
Nice one, yeah, that we have.
Both teams very competitive, and Alpha scoring consistently. Titan Motorsport just grabbed that 4th place in the leaderboard. Let's see if they can climb up even further.
Ready for race number 19. Oh, 2 really good performances. 0.180 from Team Alpha. Again, Marcel, 1.379 seconds race time and 1.516 for Titan Motorsports. This Team Alpha is on fire.
Absolutely. I mean, the reaction time was close to average, and they still managed to grab that win at an amazing time. Total time of 1.3. I think if they just strip that reaction time down in round 2, we're going to have an amazing performance.
Let's take a look at this race again in slow motion, Marcel. So we've got Titan on left.
Very close launch.
Very close out of the
Absolutely.
CO2s.
Oof, but you can see that our Team Alpha, their car took a big advantage, and although they had a similar launch at the end, it's all about the design.
And again, what you said is, if you take a look at that, not great difference between the reaction times.
Yes.
But if you take a look again, Team Alpha is coming out with a mass of 50.6 grams. And we're ready now, Marcel, for the second last race of round 1. This is Team Volta against Turbo Motors. And Turbo Motors doing a sterling job so far. Really
Yes.
impressed with these
Absolutely.
guys.
Volta is coming just 5th right now on the leaderboard. Let's hope that they can score up and then
Absolutely.
perform well in this race. Let's see what's going to happen.
Let's see. So we've got current position number 3.
Oh, you can see that damage in the front wing of Volta.
Third place holders at the moment. That would be Turbo Motors and Volta 5th place.
Yes, I think Volta is looking really good. Unfortunately, Turbo Motors is looking really good. Volta, unfortunately, having that damage in the front wing. Let's see how that will affect their performance.
Locked and loaded on this F1inSchools track. State-of-the-art cars, state-of-the-art track.
Very, very,
So,
very close.
0.211 and 0.235, 1.562. Volta takes this one, 0.005 seconds difference.
Very close.
It's going to get closer. Let's take a look at it again.
An amazing launch, I think. Oh, very close. You couldn't
Absolutely
even
close.
distinguish by the eye in slow-mo the difference over there, but
Let's take a look. So quick. Yo. 2 really good performances, and I really think, again, it comes down to a combination of reaction time and mass. But
Absolutely.
2 really, really good, solid performances
absolutely.
by Team Turbo Motors on the third, currently holding 3rd place.
Yes.
And then Volta in 5th place.
Yes. Now we're almost at the last race of
That's
round
it.
1.
This is our
And
last one for round 1.
let's see. It's been an exciting one. And
Absolutely.
it's been an amazing performance today.
Yes.
By everyone.
Yes.
Every team have been performing very well, and their cars have been amazing. We've seen some amazing designs. We've seen some amazing reaction times, and unfortunately, we've seen some failures. But it's all part of the sport.
All part of it. Looking at the damage of the car there, Marcel, I do not think they would be able to patch things together.
I don't think so either.
It's really unfortunate. So as we now build up towards the end of round 1,
Yes.
as team managers, I think we're ready, Marcel. Sorry, let's
Yes,
go down.
let's carry on.
Last
So
race.
we've got the last race of round 1, the 21st race. We've got Veloce in lane 1 up against the dominating Alpha
Yes.
in lane 2. This is going to be an interesting one. Let's see if Veloce can climb up that leaderboard, and let's see if Alpha can continue with their consistent performance. If you look at their car, very
Veloce,
slim.
Look at the beautiful green and black. And then we've got Team Alpha with the purple and black. 2 totally different designs, Marcel.
Absolutely. We can see that this race is going to tell us which design to go for.
Absolutely.
What is the better one, as the lights are ready to go.
Locked and loaded. Oh, that was a very solid performance again by Team Alpha. 1.368 and 1.568 by Team Veloce. Very consistent performance.
Absolutely.
By Team Alpha.
Absolutely.
Marcel, looking at the car design of Team Alpha, what do you think they have done correctly?
Number
What
one,
do you think is their success story besides the mass?
besides the mass, if you take a look, I think that they haven't focused on downforce, and I think this is a big misconception.
Yes.
Because I heard a lot of teams discussing downforce,
Yes.
and this is a drag race, so yeah, downforce is only needed for you to push down the car around the corners. But it's a drag race; it's a straight race. So what you want to do is minimize. What you want to do is you want to minimize the drag coefficient. You want to minimize the air pushing you back. So I think that's what they did, and that is clearly the formula to success. And clearly, it's not focusing on downforce, but it is focusing on drag.
Nice. Some very valuable advice and some good analysis there. As we end round 1, let's take a look at the current leaderboard. Alpha still at the top, very solid performance, 1.356 seconds. Emirates Odyssey, unfortunately damage to their car, still holding on to that second place at 1.376. Turbo Motors still third, 1.437. And Titan Motorsports holding on to the fourth place, 1.439 best time. Team Volta, Veloce, and 21 drivers. What will those team managers be saying to their teams as we now ending round 1 and going into the last 21 races, Marcel?
So I think as a team manager, I think everyone would be down. So I think as a team manager, it's definitely their responsibility to push them and still motivate them for round 2, because there is still there's still a lot of races, and there is still definitely a chance to climb on that leaderboard. And as a team manager, you should definitely motivate your team, and you should definitely make sure that everyone is on board and everyone is concentrated and still aiming for those top 4 places.
Absolutely. Marcel, and now a very exciting thing is we're going to cross live to the track down at Jumeirah campus, where Salim Alabar, one of our Year 12 students, are waiting to do some interviews with some team members there. Salim, good afternoon. Seems as if we have a slight delay there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Salim Alabar, and I'm down here live at EISJ's very own F1 track. I've had the opportunity to watch these races since the beginning, and calling them exhilarating would be a true understatement. Today, I'm going to have the opportunity to interview one of every team's members. And up first, we have a team member from Veloce. So hello, the build-up is finally over. It's here. The event, of course, is now over, unfortunately. But how do you feel being here today supporting your team?
I feel very excited and yet nervous because we've worked very hard for this.
Of course, there's been a lot of hard work. Now, of course, your role during this entire event has been pivotal. And over the past months, how have you helped develop the car and help support your team on this race day?
In my team, I'm the team manager, so I've outlooked everyone's progress, and I've also comforted them when they feel stressed, and I've also given them many ideas and supported them through research.
Now, of course, the team manager, much like in F1 as the team principal, has a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. How have you managed that responsibility, and how have you led your team to success this year?
Could you please repeat that?
Yeah, so how, as the team manager, have you managed your team effectively to lead you to success this year? And were there any highs, were there any lows? How was the overall experience?
When I first started, I had, of course, a lot to learn as a team manager, and I had to keep tabs on how everyone's doing. And throughout the process, I've been asking Mr. Schwartz for any help to understand about where we're supposed to be. So this helped me in order to understand every person's needs in my team.
Of course, that's fantastic. And F1inSchools happens every single year. So why 2021? Why did you decide to do it this year?
I decided to join F1inSchools because I felt like it would be a new experience, and also I've learned that it's something big. So I wanted to be a part something big, and to prove to everyone that we are a good team.
Yeah, that's completely true. F1inSchools is a global event. Now, do you have any words of wisdom that you might give to the audience watching out there? Why should they join F1 next year?
They should join F1 next year because through hard work, it's not just about grades in school, but also like hard work in real life can also give you like happiness through winning a competition.
That is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for thank you so much for your time, team manager of Veloce. Up next, we have Team 21 drivers. Hello, Sheree, how are you?
I'm doing good, how are you?
It's fantastic. A madness of a performance today. You guys did splendidly. How do you feel you, as the team manager, have been effective at helping your team's success today?
I feel like supervising the team and doing a lot of work has greatly bettered our performance. And I've been privileged to have such an amazing team working behind our car, and that really helped the performance as well.
Yeah, of course. And as I asked the team manager of Veloce, of course, like the F1, it's a very unpredictable sport. So were there any highs, were there any lows throughout your creation process?
Yeah, there were many. I mean, it was a good thing that we didn't have any conflict amongst the team because we have great chemistry since all of my team members are my friends. But there were a few times where things got a bit rushy and a bit scary since we had a personal project due and all that. So it was a bit hard to juggle schoolwork and this at the same time, but yeah, we went through it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it can be very difficult to manage your time. And You saw a plethora of great races today. Were there any outstanding moments that you saw happen today, maybe with your team, maybe with some of the other teams?
No, I saw a few of the teams, they performed really well, better than I expected, honestly, and that did put me in a strange situation because I was rooting for them since they're all my friends as well, but I'm rooting for my team at the same time, so it's a bit conflicting.
Yeah, of course. And just to finish off, are there any wise words you want to give the viewers out there for next year's F1 competition? Why should they join? Why is it an amazing experience?
Because F1inSchools has just taught me so many things about different aspects of the F1 and how you can use different skills and get better at different skills. And it just makes you a better overall person in terms of ethics, in terms of working, and it makes you a hard-working person.
Of course, yeah, F1inSchools is a fantastic experience, and I highly encourage all those young aspiring students out there to give it a go next year. Thank you so much for your time, Shrey.
Yeah.
Up next, we'll have Team Alpha, the winning team of today. Just before we continue, a quick thank you to our sponsors, Al Tour Motors, without which this event would not be possible today. Thank you, Dev. Dev, you have come out on top today. All that hard work has led up to this amazing culmination. How do you feel your team did today, and how are you feeling right now?
Very happy, of course. I mean, we came first, something we didn't expect, and we're just happy to be here, of course, standing on the top of the podium.
Of course, that is absolutely fantastic. Massive congratulations to you for finishing first. Emirates Odyssey, they give you some tough competition today. Yeah. How do you feel like the dynamic between the two teams was? Was there some behind-the-scenes competition going on, or did you guys leave it all out on the racetrack?
We definitely were scared, of course, because, I mean, when we were racing, we saw them. They were very close to us. We didn't really have any, it was all left out to the track, but it was definitely scary, for sure.
Fantastic, Dev. Now, as the manager of the winning team, are there any amazing words of wisdom that you guys want to give to all the viewers out there? Why should they participate in F1 next year? Why is it such an amazing event?
I mean, personally, I think it was amazing because, I mean, you get to communicate with so many people, you learn so many new things. It's just an amazing opportunity. Even if you're not maybe interested in the engineering aspect, you have marketing. There's so much you could do. It's just a wonderful opportunity overall.
Thank you so much, Devin, for your time. Up next, we have Turbo Motors. So hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Fantastic to have you here. Describe this event to me. What were your favorite parts of it? What were the lows? What were the highs? Are you excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm really excited. My favorite part was actually the race itself. My least favorite was probably when we had some troubles when printing the car, so that was really stressful.
Of course, these cars, they're very intricate, and putting them together, there are loads of regulations that these students have to follow. What were some of the highs and some of the lows that you had, either of today or over the whole creation process?
I think our cooperation skills, we really, we worked well as a team, and we all pitched in and we made it work.
Perfect. And could you tell me about what your role was as a part of Turbo Motors? What were some of the things that you did throughout the creation process?
Well, mainly I was the marketing executive, but I pitched in and helped with mostly everything because we had many members leave, so I had to pitch in and take their roles.
Of course, yeah, there are many unexpected occurrences that can happen in F1, and it's so nice to see that we have a female participant here. In a sport dominated predominantly by males, how does it feel to be one of the females here? Could you be the potential next manager of Williams? How does it feel being a female amongst all the men here today?
It feels really good to represent the females, and I'm really proud that I can do that.
That's fantastic. And as a female member, what are some of the wise words you'd give all the females out there, all the girls out there who are aspiring engineers? How would you motivate them to take part in F1 and pursue an engineering career? To
be honest, just do it. It was really fun, so.
Of course, that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And up next, we will have Emirates Odyssey. Hello, Nicola. How are you?
Hey, so I'm doing all right.
That is fantastic. Now, Emirates Odyssey, the second team today, just missed out on that top spot by 2/100ths of a second.
Yeah.
2/100ths. It can make all the difference. How do you feel? How do you feel your performance throughout the team and throughout the creation process helped your team be so successful here today? Second place, that's no small feat.
Yeah, honestly, I'm still really proud of what we achieved here today. Definitely our ending to our race was completely unexpected. We did not expect that explosion, but I like to think of it as us going out with a bang.
Some wise words from Nicola there. So, as you just mentioned, your car did suffer some malfunctions towards the end, which created a lot of drama here. It was some of the most interesting events that happened throughout the day. How do you guys feel you can bounce back? Suffering a crash like that, that must take a hit on the confidence. How are you guys planning on bouncing back?
Definitely.
You've made it to the Nationals, so congratulations for that. How do you guys plan to bounce back after the crash like this?
I think that this crash has given us an opportunity to redesign the car and make it more aerodynamic in the future, and probably reduce the chance of exploding in the future.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, another one of our female members here at F1inSchools EISJ, so massive congratulations to you. Could you give the female viewers out there some wise words as to why they should participate in F1? Why should they pursue an engineering career in the future?
Well, I believe in this male-dominated sport. I believe it's important to show that F1 is for everyone. Even if it's male-dominated, we can show the power and the inspiration that we have as women taking part in this.
Fantastic. And once again, congratulations on second place. That is amazing. Next up, we have Team Titan Motorsports. Hello, hello, Munib. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Shift up this mic for you.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. How are you, Munib?
I'm good. How are you?
Everything okay? How do you rate your performance today? You're the team manager, of course, of Titan Motorsports. Are you happy? Are you a little bit disappointed? What could have gone better today?
Honestly, I am really happy in general because with the progress that we have so far, that's really good. Although we had a couple of loss or hiccups with reaction time especially, but luckily we were able to bounce back up and we were able to qualify. So I'm just generally really happy. As long as we're able to be together, that's my main.
Of course,
concern.
that's what F1 is about, isn't it?
Exactly.
As the team manager, you have a lot of responsibility on your back. How have you found that managing that responsibility? Has it been good? Has it been maybe a little bit tough at times? And were there any highs? Were there any lows throughout your creation process and maybe even throughout today?
Honestly, I basically distributed it all into separate sections. So I worked on each section in a specific date. So this really removed the pressure from me and this team as well. When creating the car, we did have some ups and downs. We did have a problem, especially when drilling the holes, creating the tires and all of that. When sending the documents up for printing, we did have a lot of problems. But overall, it's just amazing to be able to see our progress benefit us. That's just mainly what we
Of course,
needed.
it's amazing like seeing something that you've worked on for so long come to life here.
Exactly.
And F1inSchools has been happening for such a long time. Why did you decide to participate this year? What drew you
Honestly,
to it?
after seeing what was last year, it really got me motivated. And especially F1 being my dream sport, my sport that I grew up with. I'm like, let me give it a try. Maybe I could go up, maybe get a chance to do something really big. So that was really the main reason I joined.
Of course, I heard you're an F1 fan. Are you looking forward to the Bahrain GP
oh, yeah,
coming
100%.
soon? Yeah, start of the season, that's always exciting. Well, thank you so much, Munib, for your time.
Thank you very
Up
much.
next, we're going to have the final team, Team Volta.
Hi.
Hello, Mr. Mohammed Zain, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
That's fantastic to hear. I'm doing quite well. It's been a long day, but it's been a very exciting day here at F1. Now, as the team manager for Team Volta, what are the biggest challenges that you have faced over the creation process and the design process, and how did your performance sum up today?
I would say 2 words, time management, time management, time management. It's the most important thing because at the end of the day, we're still students, and I myself am from year 11. We got board exams, we got projects, big projects, and it's really important. The key thing is time management. And I was a design engineer as well for this team, and since I had a bunch of work piling up, I had to devise my time really expertly.
Of course, and I remember you participated in F1inSchools last year as well. You were on Team Jaguars, I believe.
Yep.
How did your experience from last year help you or team become better this year? What advice did you offer your team that gave you guys such a successful result?
So last year, the only reason we actually came third and not first was our weight. So we have 56 grams this year. I tried to make it as low as possible. We reached 52 grams. However, the race didn't go according to plan. Our front wing came off, and that was unfortunate. And therefore, we still managed to make 5th place. We just missed the entry level by 1 place. So.
Of course, yeah, it's very unfortunate for you guys. And just to sum up, how would you feel giving advice over to the viewers at home? What advice could you give to some young aspiring engineers like yourself potentially viewing?
Like I said,
right
choose your time wisely. You have to focus on time management, and it's based on passion. So F1inSchools, it's got a bunch of roles. You can be team manager, you can be marketing executive, you could be a resource manager, or a design engineer, and these are all roles you can do in Formula 1 in schools.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mohammed Zain. That'll be all that we'll have for you today. Thank you for tuning into the live interviews here with the members from each of the 7 teams at EISJ. Mr. Schwartz, Marcel, I think it's about time that I hand back over to you.
Thank you very much, Salem there from Emirates International School, Jumeirah campus. So nice to hear this feedback from students who participated in the race, Marcel.
Absolutely.
So we've just heard, word just in is from the F1inSchools manager, Mr. Paul Bray, said that the damage caused to the Emirates Odyssey car is the most severe that he has ever seen in his life. So severe that it actually literally became airborne. And that is, Marcel, just an absolute reflection of how incredibly fast these cars actually propel down that track.
Absolutely. They're going extremely fast, and it's very unpredictable.
Yes.
And these are the results. I mean, it's interesting to see that this is why we have backup cars, and it's very unfortunate that we couldn't have them for this afternoon's event.
So with that being said, the judges have made a call that with the 21 races being completed in round one, this matches the number of races that cars will have during the national event, and therefore that wraps the day. So Marcel, let's take a look at the final leaderboard to see who's going to go through and represent our school at this year's national event.
Gotcha.
The teams are,
So we
first
have-
place is Team Alpha.
Yes.
And they were pretty consistent today.
Very consistent, amazing performance, and I think well-deserved first spot.
Absolutely. Emirates Odyssey, and this, I know they had this incredibly bad accident, but just incredible how they actually secured second place with a very good performance in the earlier races.
Yes, absolutely.
Third, Turbo Motors. Very proud of these guys, 1.437. And then the last slot available, Titan Motorsports. So Alpha and Odyssey will represent our school in the professional category, and Turbo and Titan will go into the rookie category.
Yes.
Those four teams now, Marcel, leading out of today's competition, would now be preparing for, I think, for some very challenging competition as well, as they now compete to other schools.
Absolutely.
Within the UAE.
Yes.
What could these teams potentially now, what should they now mentally be prepared for as they prepare for the next stage?
So now that you're going into the actual competition, it is very important to maintain a very good and focused timeline. I think that's my number one advice.
Right.
So you want to keep a very good timeline, and you want to get things done ahead of time, because as we know, many unexpected things can come up at any moment. And I think the earlier you do your testing and the earlier you do your manufacturing of the car, the more tests you can perform, the more you can see how your car is not only virtually, but how it performs in real life. And this is what will give you the advantage. And now, a good thing to do is to take reflection from this race, and you need to sort of fill the holes to you basically any disadvantages or any mistakes or anything done, any sort of rookie moves, you need to get that out of the way, and you need to fill it in with perfection so that you can succeed in the national competition and hopefully make it to the international competition.
Thanks, Marcel. Some very valuable advice for our four teams building now to the UAE national event. And just to give everybody just an idea of how amazing this ADNOC UAE national event sponsored by F1inSchools and supported by F1inSchools is, let's take a look at what they should prepare for.
I joined this team since I go to F1 races every year. Eventually, we sent our design to a professional artist. We are the Burning Hot Dogs team.
Some very exciting things there,
Absolutely.
Marcel.
Lots of excitement
that
and
await them.
yes.
And this year, the teams will have the opportunity to be at the track themselves in Abu Dhabi. That's the best part
That's
of it all.
amazing. That's wonderful. I wish we could have had that opportunity.
Absolutely. So lots to look and excitement still lined up for those 4 teams. A massive congratulations to Team Alpha with a very consistent, outstanding performance today, taking the win and therefore leading the competition in the pro category, going to represent Emirates International School Jumeirah at this year's UAE national event.
Yes.
Again, just before we say goodbye, Marcel, I think I would just like to say a massive thank you, to Al Abtour Motors, the main sponsor of today, to CEO Mr. Ahmed Al Abtour from Al Abtour Motors for making this possible. Thank you very much to Mr. Paul Bray from F1inSchools as well as ADNOC, who supported us incredibly well in making this opportunity available for our students. And now we'll build up for next year, Marcel, and I would like to say to everybody at home, watch this space very carefully. If you would like to get involved in Formula One in schools, now is the time to get excited, and now is the time to start thinking whether or not you would want to be part of this amazing experience as we continue to grow and to build this event and uniting students in school. Marcel, thank you very much. This brings us to the end of a very exciting, action-packed show. Thank you very much for joining me. To everybody at home, from Marcel and myself, it is goodbye, stay safe, and see you next year.
H.